Hello everybody, this is Grandmaster Damien Lemos for onlinechesslessons.net, and in this video I'm gonna analyze a game between Grandmaster Michael Adams and Grandmaster Sean Ehlvesht. So let's get started. White plays e4, and black plays e5, knight to f3, knight c6, bishop b5. Well, as you know, this is a Spanish variation, or in Spanish we call this the Ruy Lopez. And here black chooses d6. Well, you know the main move, it's a6, right? When black plays d6 here, this is the Steinitz variation. The only problem with this variation, despite the fact it's a solid one, black is gonna play with less space than usual, as we'll see. Now white has the chance of putting a pawn in the center. Here we win space, and black plays bishop to d7. We play knight c3 as white. Yeah, it's great to see that we cannot win a pawn as white yet with bishop takes, because if we take on e5, he can always take on e4 too. So there's no reason to give the bishop pair yet. By playing knight c3, we keep developing pieces, and black takes on d4, knight takes, and he plays c6. As far as I know, I think the main line is knight f6, which looks a natural move, right? We castle as white, and here black plays bishop e7. This is the idea of black in this line. He wants to play a solid variation. By the way, if he takes on d4, which makes sense, right? Because black is lacking space. When you lack space, it's great to trade pieces off. But in this case, white gets a powerful queen on d4. This queen is controlling the whole board, and in a lot of variations we'll have the chance of playing something like queen c3 attacking c7, and then the knight comes to d4 and f5. Just to give an example here, something like this makes a lot of sense, I mean, and I think our position as white, it's always better, mainly because we have more space. So that is why black doesn't take on d4. It's better to play bishop e7, and here well, usually white takes. Well, now we give this bishop away, but we have a reason, right? This knight on d4 is very powerful. Usually we can jump to f5. I mean, if he takes this way, we can play like this, and the bishop pair here is not that strong for black, especially because the bishops, they don't have very good diagonals, and I think our knights plus our space advantage, I think it's great here. We have a lot of chances. If he takes with a pawn, well, here we have a lot of theory moves such as bishop f4, queen d3, queen f3. In all cases, I think white is always slightly better, again, right? Because we have a better pawn structure, and feels like one day we can play knight f5, and we're gonna take the bishop pair. We're gonna get the bishop pair back, and the pawn structure makes the difference here, I think. And of course, okay, black has some counterplay too, right? But since the beginning, in the opening, when he plays d6, he knows he's gonna play with less space. So as you know, black's goal in the opening is to equalize. So he plays a c6 here. He's investing more tempos in developing. So okay, white castles, bishop to c7, and bishop takes c6. Again, in this line we see that giving this bishop away, it's usual. This knight on d4 is quite strong. I mean, if we take with the knight, I guess black can just play bishop takes c6, and he would be more than happy to trade a lot of pieces here. I guess his position is fine here. The more pieces black trades, then he's closer to equality. So I think bishop takes c6, it's fine. Pawn takes. And here, well, we can see what happens if he takes with the bishop. Well, I think as white we should not take yet, because again we are trading too many pieces. We can just continue with the standard move, rook e1. It's a good development move actually, because the king is on e8. And now if black develops like knight f6, we can play e5 and we have a very strong attack. If he takes, well, then he cannot castle anymore. And well, he can play knight h6, but doesn't look great, right? The knight in the corner. And if he plays knight to e7, here I see a very nice move for white, which is bishop g5. You can try remembering these concepts for other positions too. See, bishop g5, it's a pretty annoying move, this spin, right? If he plays f6, then we just go back, and then when he plays f6, he's blocking his own bishop. If he plays h6, we can go back too, and then he created weaknesses around the king. Now when we play something like queen d2, we are not only developing but winning a tempo, right? Because we threat the pawn on h6. So that is why I like this kind of maneuvers, playing bishop g5 first, then we go back, and he'll probably create weaknesses around the king by playing f6 or h6. So black takes with the pawn. Well, it makes sense, right, to control the d5 square. White plays rook e1, knight to e7. Again, we should say that, yeah, if he plays knight f6, then e5, it's great. The king is going to stay in the center after that. So knight to e7, bishop to f4, and as we see here, white's idea is playing e5. If we play this as white, we are going to destroy black's pawn structure, so this makes a lot of sense actually. And yeah, he plays c5, knight to f3. Again, as white, we insist we want to play e5, and he plays f6. Yeah, if he plays something like rook b8, or maybe if he castles, I think we can just play e5, and it's not easy for black to keep his pawn structure like this. I mean, he'll have to take probably, and now taking with the bishop or the knight, I think they are both great. I mean, c7 and c5, they are gonna be pretty weak, so I think black cannot allow e5. I mean, after rook b8, e5, it's also pretty strong. I mean, this pawn on b2, we should not protect it, right? I mean, we have such a powerful development here. And if he takes first, I guess here I think we are still winning. We have a lot of moves, right? Since the king is on e8, something like this, basically. I think black cannot defend here, so once again, as I said, I think black cannot allow e5, so that is why he plays f6. White plays queen d2. Well, we finish development as white. Black castles, and now bishop h6. Well, here, first of all, Yeah, as white, we can tell this bishop on c7 is not a great bishop, and if he plays f5, we'll probably play e5. But by the way, trading it is not a bad idea, because when we take this bishop, then in the future, if we try a break like e5, this bishop on g7 is not gonna help anymore. And here as black, if I were black, I would try playing bishop c4, because I don't find good diagonals for this bishop, so maybe getting rid of this bishop, it's a good idea. For instance, well, white is gonna take, I mean, unless I play knight h4 here, but I don't think this is a great move. I mean, probably white has to play something like rook e3, and yeah, he's still better, but because of our pawn structure mainly, but at least when we lack space and this bishop was not good, I got rid of it. So maybe here I have some chances of equalizing in the long run. As you'll see, here black pushes a5, but here after the simple h3, very good move, right? Now white is playing against our bishop. We won't find good diagonals for this bishop, and again, after h3, it's not only, you know, a useful move, it's stopping bishop c4. White increases his space advantage. a4, rook a1. Now, yeah, we'll see that e5 is coming one day. All white pieces are helping, and black pieces are not coordinated. So bishop e6. Well, if we knew what white was going to play, then maybe knight c6 is the best move, because it's controlling the e5 square. Although now, yeah, the d5 square is not under control, but I mean, looking at the game, I guess knight c6 is the best try. After bishop e6, which looks natural, bishop takes c7, king takes, and now white finds a very nice way of opening that position and destroying black's pawn structure. And it's not easy, right? Because we don't have the bishop pair as white. Anyway, e5, as you'll see, it's working. Black takes with the f pawn. Well, he'll have to do something, right? I mean, he'll have to take some way. If he takes this way, we can just move the queen to e2. We threat his queen, and when he moves like queen b8 or something, we'll play knight takes e5, and we have such a powerful attack here, right? If he plays rook f6, we have knight e4. Otherwise, he's losing the bishop. We are opening that position. This is too much for black, I guess. But if he takes this way, knight takes e5, it's also great. As you'll see, if he takes, then we probably move the queen somewhere like before, and then we follow queen takes e5 check. So he plays queen to c8. But now the e-file is gonna play a big role here. After knight g4, for instance, looks like, yeah, bishop e6 and knight e7 are under a pin. We threat queen h6 too in a lot of variations, and that is why he plays knight g8. If he plays bishop takes g4, we have the in-between move, rook takes e7 check, and then we take the bishop. And this is not working because we have knight d5 check. And after this, obviously, well, we made him with queen f4, but yeah, king f6 is not playable. So he cannot take the knight, and this is coming soon. So knight g8 looks like an interesting try. But after the simple knight e4, here black resigns, and yeah, you may think that he resigns quickly, but if we analyze here, it's not hard to understand that black is losing. First of all, White has a big threat here, which is queen c3, and well, if king f7, then knight g5 probably. I mean, queen c3, it's already too strong, and basically, yeah, black can stop it. I mean, if he plays this, we can just play something like this, I guess. Queen c3 check, king h6, pawn takes, queen takes, and now after the simple rook here followed by rook h3, I think we are winning. He can play rook f5, but then this, rook h5, and here, well, we have again a lot of moves, but I think, for instance, f3 should be doing it. I mean, in the long run, I mean, against such a strong player, we cannot survive here as black. Maybe there are other variations too, but I think basically this is winning, or maybe playing rook g3 too first, and then when the queen moves, then rook here. I mean, we cannot come here. Only way is playing this, but again, I feel it's gonna be too easy for us. This is another variation which looks risky, but I think it's winning too. I mean, there's no mate here, and the rook is under attack. The king here again cannot survive. You can check this with the computer anyway, but basically the other try would be here. Maybe he can play knight here, but then I'm under the impression that this should win too. I mean, if he takes, then we have a discovered check with our knight. For instance, I guess this, king h6, and queen here. This should be winning. And if he takes with the rook, then rook e7, it's also doing it. We see that black's queen is too far away from defense, so yeah, I guess this is winning too. I mean, king here, queen takes, and then we are probably mating him sooner or later. So let me see here. Well, basically I think that yeah, this move should win. I mean, we threat mate here, also some mates like this, and if he plays this, then we can just play queen c7 and queen takes h7 mate. So, well, as you see, a lot of beautiful variations here, but after 94, again, looks like black should not resign yet, but as we see, it's really hard to stop white's attack. So I hope you enjoyed this example. Was a short one, but between very strong players, so this is proving that sometimes if we don't handle the space disadvantage, we can get a position like this. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in future videos.